Hey there, guys and gals. This is Chris with Ignited by Nature, and today I'm going to be talking about backcountry footwear at a high level. Specifically, I'm going to be talking about what boots or shoes that I use during each season and why I use them. Stay with me. Let's start off this review by talking about these Brooks Trail Runners. These are the Brooks Adrenaline GTS, and I got these in Hawaii. I forgot my hiking shoes, and we were going to be doing a few hikes. We were in Hawaii for over 2 weeks. We went to Oahu, and then we stayed in Kauai for a week. So we did a lot of hiking. These have been awesome. I've been using them all summer. They're starting to get some wear and tear. Last summer, I used these On running shoes. These are pretty good. Both these running shoes have kind of like slimmer toe boxes. So a lot of the newer, like the Hokas and some of the other brands, they're having wider foot boxes. So I want to try those out this year. But I honestly really like these Brooks, so I might just buy another pair. These are pretty good too, but as you can see, they got pretty worn out. Next, let's talk about my Crispi Crossover GTXs. These are an excellent mid-size boot. They're lightweight. They have a flex rating of 2, and they're awesome for summer backpacking and scouting. They stopped making these Crispi Crossovers a while ago. I really don't know why. It's an awesome boot. It has extra grip and extra ankle support with that mid-size height. And I just really like this boot if I'm going off trail a little bit during the summer. And it's my go-to choice for summer hiking when I'm going to be hiking in rougher terrain. This is kind of a cool little tip too. If you have your own insoles made, it saves you a huge amount of time with breaking in your shoes. A lot of the insoles that shoe companies provide or boot companies provide, they're just not going to be as great as a custom insole. Or if you go to a podiatrist because you do have feet issues, you're just going to get a better insole and you're going to be able to break in your boots or shoes a lot faster. Another interesting thing, and I've heard this in some podcasts, but like I said, these insoles are like $70 a piece. My podiatrist actually recommended Super Feet, and for anyone who has flat feet like me, he recommends the high arch insole, so the max support. Everyone's going to be different, but yeah, he's recommending Super Feet, and that's straight from my doctor, so that's kind of cool. Alrighty then. So we finished up with summer footwear. Let's go ahead and talk about what I wear during spring, fall, and during the late season. So in front of me, you'll see that I have 3 sets of Crispi boots here. I have the Summit GTXs, the original OG Crispi boot, and I got these in 2019. I've done over probably 450 miles in them. I need to reapply a suede coating to this upper part of the boot because it's not as waterproof as it used to be. But overall, it's been a pretty good boot, and it is their cheapest boot model. And I originally went for it in 2019 because I was on a budget, but it's been a phenomenal boot. And then in the middle here, I have the Crispi Nevadas. These are a great boot. They're uninsulated. Both these boots to my right or to your left are uninsulated boots. And I'm pretty much using these throughout the whole hunting season, except for during late season. I'm going to be using these Wild Rock GTXs, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But I use uninsulated boots because if you have too much insulation in your boots when you're hiking, they're going to sweat, and sweating just makes your feet cold. And then also, if you sweat too much, your feet could slide around and you could potentially get blisters. So I try to avoid insulated boots when possible. But if I'm doing a lot of sitting or it's just really cold, I'm going to actually use these Wild Rock GTXs, which are a 400 gram Thinsulin boot. So they have 400 grams of insulation basically. All these boots in front of me are a 3 flex rating. So Crispi has 1 to 5 as a flex rating, 1 being very flexible and 5 being very stiff. Now, for most hunting situations out west, you're not going to need a 5. And then a 1 flex rating is really going to be for if you're running trails a lot and stuff like that. And when I mean running, like hiking a lot of trails. But for general purpose use, you're hiking up the side of a mountain, you might be on a trail for a little bit and then you're going straight up. I find that 3 is a really good middle ground, and it is the middle ground for Crispi. As far as my insoles, I use a semi-custom insole, and these insoles were basically prescribed by my podiatrist, but they aren't a custom insole. The way he customized it is he added this extra padding right here, and this is meant to be arch support. So I have a lot of arch support. Now, the Summit GTXs and the Crispi Nevadas are going to be my go-to boots pretty much throughout the whole hunting season, like I mentioned earlier. And I'm going to use these in September, October, and all the way up into Thanksgiving in November. Obviously, I'm not using these as much right now because I bought these new ones, and I've really been loving the Nevadas, the uninsulated version. And, you know, my feet don't sweat too bad, and they got pretty good flex. And then with my custom insoles, these boots are just amazing. I don't have any blisters or anything, and I really like running these Nevadas. I'm going to apply another coat to these Summits so I can use them, but these have kind of been my summer scouting boot, and I use these a lot in the summer. And then once hunting season comes around, I use these Nevadas. Now that I've talked about the Summit GTXs and the Nevadas, we'll go ahead and talk about the Wild Rock GTXs. These boots are a full grain leather boot, and these are the boots that I choose to use when it's really cold out. So I'm talking late November, December, and even when I'm trapping in the wintertime, I'm going to be using these boots. Usually in the wintertime, I'm not hiking as much as I would in the spring and fall. So these boots are really great because my feet aren't sweating as much and I get to stay warm when I'm not moving as much, but I can still hike in these. Some of the things that I really like about these boots and all Crispi boots is the tread is phenomenal. I find that I can walk in the snow. I live in the mountains and my road gets icy, and I find that when I'm walking the dogs or taking my dog around a walk, that I don't even need tracks. I can literally walk with these boots and I barely ever have slipping issues. So the tread on these boots is really nice. So I really like the insulation and the tread for winter, and then the flex rating of 3 gives me that versatility. Okay, so that's pretty much everything I wanted to say about boots. Obviously, if you can't afford multiple boots like me, then you just want to pick a boot that's kind of a middle ground. Like these Crispi Nevadas are great. You probably don't want an insulated boot if you only have one boot that you're going to choose, because the insulated boots, they're just not good if you're doing a lot of hiking. You're going to sweat. You might get rubbing. So you really want to go uninsulated, because once you're moving, you're really not going to feel anything anyways. And if you have good socks, good merino wool, your feet are going to stay relatively dry. Now, with that being said, if you only have an option to have one boot, or even if you just have multiple boots, but you want your feet to stay warm when you're glassing, I would highly recommend that you get some of these Booties. Now, they don't have to be First Lite. I just like First Lite, and I tend to have a lot of their equipment, but I also have a lot of their equipment over other companies because I tend to find better deals on their equipment. These are glassing Booties by First Lite, and I'll wear these if I hike to a spot and then I'm just doing a lot of glassing. I don't put my boots on in the morning. I wear these camp Booties, and they got a lot of insulation, and these are kind of like a synthetic puffy, so they're a great option to keep your feet warm. And then they also have kind of like this breathability and airflow to your feet that doesn't cause your feet to sweat or get cold. You do a lot better with these on if you're doing a lot of sitting and glassing. So if I'm on a glassing intensive hunt, I'm definitely going to bring these with me, especially if it's late November and December. Any of those late season hunts, these are a game changer, and I'm going to pack the extra weight. So that's my take on backcountry footwear at a high level. I hope this video was helpful, and if you found it helpful, please like and subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. And then if you want to leave a comment, or you have some feedback, or you just want to let me know what you're using for footwear, go ahead and leave a comment below. I'd really appreciate it. Also, if you like this video and you want similar content, check out the description below, and I'll throw some links to some other videos in that I created regarding clothing. With that being said, my name is Chris with Ignited by Nature, and thank you so much for watching. Until next time, guys and gals.